So yesterday I finished Wednesday season 2 part 1. Wasn't exactly the longest thing of my life because it was only 4 eps, but I did watch, split it across 2 different days just because I was a little busy. But I did finish it, thankfully, before part 2 drops literally next week. And I have quite a few things to say about season 2. And I don't even know where to really start, but I guess I'll just go straight into it because it's 4 eps, but a lot happens in 4 eps. I've learned that after seeing Wednesday because 4 eps sounds kind of little. It is part 1, obviously. So this is just part 1 of season 2. I can't really talk about season 2 as a whole because we don't have it from start to finish yet. We just have the first 4 eps. So obviously I can only be 50% of the way there. Halfway, basically. So I'm just going to get started with something I do like. Obviously, we did have a whole 3-year wait. That was the wait from seasons 1 to 2, and some characters I think were at least still relatively how they used to be back in season 1. There's some consistency there. Wednesday in particular, of course, the main character, I do like how she was handled this season. You kind of see her adapt in different ways this time. Obviously, she's now a lot more popular at Nevermore. You see how she does not like being the center of attention and just all the popularity. She kind of likes moving in silence, working in silence, kind of being under the, behind the shadows, basically. That's kind of how she likes to operate. And you can see her just kind of almost daddle with this stuff and almost just find new mysteries as well that she has to uncover. Even the one from last year, obviously we have a stalker of hers, and we have so much new things that I think was actually kind of nice. I think the mysteries are nice this season. I definitely I like the mysteries. They're not bad, in my opinion. There is the whole, she's trying to save one of her dearest friends because she has a vision of her very impending doom. And speaking of impending dooms, probably not impending, it's just I saw it on my screen. I'll be honest, because I really liked Enid in season 1, but I feel like season 2 part 1 so far has kind of butchered her a little bit. I'm not the hugest fan of her, especially the biggest thing obviously is the whole Bruno situation, a new character that's come onto the screen and is a new love interest for Enid, and it just felt so random, almost feels kind of out of place a little bit. Because, they built up something with her and Ajax in season 1, and I know that they explained that, oh, it's the summer. I think she met Bruno over the summer or something, and it kind of went into the school year, something like that, but they kind of distanced over the summer. That was their excuse, but it felt so weird. It felt so off. And you don't want to know what I really think happened. So obviously we all know that Xavier doesn't return in this show, unfortunately, because of, personal reasons, but I feel like they almost wanted to give Wednesday that love triangle with her, Tyler, and Xavier, and they couldn't do that because Xavier was written out of the show. So they kind of went for Enid instead. They just created Bruno, so you can have Bruno, Ajax, and Enid as the love triangle. I don't like when shows just kind of force the love triangle. I don't mind if it exists as long as it's not forced and it actually kind of flows and it maybe makes some sort of sense. But I don't think every single show needs to have this, and that one was just completely unnecessary. So that's definitely a big con, in my opinion, about this season. A pro, though, I did really like, because this is something I really wanted back in season 1. I love how we got more of the family, the Addams family. You got Pugsley and the mom and dad. I think that I wanted to see more about them, and season 2 has kind of done that. So far, the mom is helping out at Nevermore, and Pugsley has now gotten his friend Eugene, but I will get into that in a little bit because I do have something to say about that. But the Addams family, I think, was a really welcomed, almost reinstatement in so far in part 1. I like their presence. Their screen presence is really nice. Of course, I got a shout out Thing, one of the best characters, that very weird moving hand, but probably one of the only times I'll accept the moving hand because he's that cool. But the mother too has some nice lore. Oh, and her Uncle Fester. Oh, I'm so glad they brought him back this season. He's almost such a comic relief character, but he's really funny too. I like the whole mystery element with him as well. And in terms of Pugsley, I like how he's friends with Eugene, like I said. Although Eugene, kind of almost like Enid, is another character I just feels really off from how we saw him in season 1. Obviously, there's the whole aging up gap. I don't really mind But like obviously Enid, sorry, Eugene, Pugsley, like they are significantly older. The actors definitely grew since season 1. You can tell that on screen. I don't mind that, but it's so almost weird. I feel like season 1 Eugene would have been a lot more nicer to Pugsley. That's all I'm saying. Like, just the thing felt a little off. Maybe it was some sort of like fame or clout, just kind of, you know, warping the mind, or just he not really knowing how to react. I don't really know what the bottom of the barrel is with that, but I think they'll still like have a good dynamic even going into part 2. Maybe they just kind of need to like warm up to each other. That might just be it. But yeah, it was just really weird. We also have a couple new characters. I think her name's Agnes, that basically Wednesday's stalker, who almost looks up to her. She's like a ginger with very similar hair, because she did her hair like her, and obviously almost tried to kill Enid and Bruno. And I mean, she's a nice character. I think she has a decent level to where she's not too creepy and weird, but still kind of like an interesting person to just see about and what the whole business is. It almost feels like she could be a decoy for maybe like someone else being like behind something that we haven't seen. I'm definitely keeping my eyes on the school principal, because yes. By the way, shout out to the school principal. He's voiced by Steve Buscemi. I might have butchered that last name, but I recognize his voice from Randall from Monsters Inc. Oh, when I clicked in my head, I was like, oh my god, they actually put him in here. And I love that. I love when I can just get random connections with other like movies and shows and stuff like that. But yeah, bottom of the line is Wednesday season 2, I think offers enough. It's a nice follow-up to season 1. I think like my only problem just really stems from some characters not really acting like I feel like they would in season 1, and I understand people like in shows they want to like make them change and stuff, but like it felt like an unnatural change. Some of them are a little weird, but we're only halfway through, so that's something that I want to put with big precaution when I'm talking about season 1 here. Season 2, sorry. And Tyler too, I have to mention Tyler. We didn't really see too much of him, but that's fine. He's definitely going to be saved for a lot more of him to come in part 2. And by the way, rest in peace. Obviously, I said in the title, this video is going to contain some spoilers. Rest in peace to Tyler's dad. He did not deserve to go out that way. That was pretty bad. Like, I felt bad for him too when he went away. But yeah, Tyler's whole like inner demon, part of the Hyde thing still going on, of course. And of course, I have to talk about this. But before we do, obviously, just one small disclaimer. I do think that this season almost kind of missed Xavier. I don't know. You can definitely just tell when he's not there. They did mention him. I'm glad they gave a reason to why he doesn't show up. Like, in universe, they mention him. They don't just, like, act like he didn't exist. So at least I can appreciate that. It's just a shame. It's nothing on the show, because there's nothing they could have done. But, yeah, Xavier just not being around kind of felt weird, especially when you just watch it right off the back of season 1. But yeah, it is what it is. We gotta live with that. But it sucks, because I think Xavier actually could have been an interesting character to still see more of. And he was set up to see more of him, but obviously couldn't happen. So going on to obviously what happened. Wednesday just completely gets absolutely chucked out of that window. All the cops come. Tyler escapes. They're trying to shoot him with guns, but he gets away. And then you just see Wednesday completely bloodied out on the floor. Didn't even look like she was breathing, but we know obviously that it's just a coma. She is alive. But I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I wouldn't be surprised if they did some sort of decoy there, because obviously we saw her with Tyler, so we're meant to assume that Tyler completely yeeted her out of that window. And it's nice to theorize, maybe it wasn't actually Tyler. They didn't show who threw out the window. Maybe we're gonna get some context. Maybe it wasn't him and it was someone else. Maybe it was Marilyn, who knows? But yeah, like the whole thing is very interesting there. I'm curious what state of mind she's gonna be in. Obviously, when she comes out of her coma, that is pretty much confirmed. Like, that will happen, of course. But yeah, I'm just wondering how other characters react. We didn't even see anyone's reaction in part 1. We didn't see her parents. We didn't see Enid. We saw nobody. So that was definitely such a... I don't really think this season really needed to go into the part 2 parts. I feel like that's a little bit forced, but Netflix likes to do that with a lot of shows lately. But yeah, overall, part 1, interesting. if this was just a whole season, I don't think it'd be good. But like obviously we have a whole other part 2 to get into eventually, so we're gonna have to wait for that. But it is coming out September 3rd. I will make sure to get my review out on the get-go when that drops, because I'm looking forward to it. I really am. But yeah, part 2, let me know what you guys had, pros and cons. Like I kind of shared the ones I had in the top of my head. But yeah, that is just my raw review of Wednesday season 2 part 2.